Hey guys, welcome back to Micho Makes. My name is Micho. I like to make stuff. Today I've got part number 87 of the Toyota Sprinter Trueno AE86 by DeAgostini. This is the 1/8 scale massive model that we're building together. Without further ado, let's just jump right into this one. Alright, starting off, we've got our front cover here. Back to the boxes. We've got our piece here, and oh my gosh, that sure looks like a windshield to me. Sure looks like it. We've got a piece of cardboard here. That's kind of cool. And we've got our magazine. Alright, let's check out our magazine. Alright, let's check out the magazine. Okay, so this is actually a pretty cool one. I looked through right before I open this up for you. But basically, it kind of goes over the style of dealership that Toyota usually does with their cars and how Japan had set it up previously. So essentially, you know, when you let's just take for example, you want to buy a Corolla, sorry, not Corolla, like a Chevrolet, right? You go into a dealership, you want to buy a Silverado, you can buy that there. Or let's say you want a Chevy Cobalt or a Spark or something like that. You can just go in the Chevy dealership and they're all available for you. You want a big vehicle or a small compact car, those are all available for you at that specific dealership. Toyota had it different, where and I think other car manufacturers like Nissan and Honda had it different because they had separate stores. They had like a Toyota specific store, which was just for like the brand, and actually they were more luxury kind of style cars, more expensive vehicles too as well. They also had a Toyo Pet kind of dealership style, which handled the kind of family sedans and family cars. And then you had the Corolla and actually had a separate Corolla specific dealership there too as well. And then they had the Nets too as well. And then eventually they combined the Corolla and Toyo Pet. But it's pretty unique because they only sold certain models at those specific kind of, I wouldn't say franchises, it's not the right word, dealerships. And then they also had the Toyota one, which again was sold more luxury cars. So if you wanted to buy a luxury like Land Cruiser, you got to go to Toyota. But if you want to buy a Corolla, then you got to go to like a Corolla store. Or if you want to buy, let's say, a minivan, you want to go to the Toyo Pet store, right? So you're very selected on which place you want to go to buy those vehicles. I think a lot of it had to do with, this training of the sales staff, training, the way that they're set up, test drives and all that stuff. So there was a lot of interesting ways that they set up their dealership specifically. Now, reading the article and kind of going through it, it made a lot of sense because what they want to do is really try to make it a different experience depending on the kind of model that you're looking for. So you have you've got the Corollas up here, you've got the Celicas here, Supra here, Starlet here, and they would almost all be at kind of different kind of franchises and stuff. So the really big conundrum that you saw that I read from this article too was that when Toyota kind of went through this and they were like, okay, well, what happens if you have a luxury Land Cruiser, but your kid is coming of age and they want to buy a car? Are you supposed to go over to this Corolla dealership? Why can't I just buy it from this one person that I've been working with for a while? And it would frustrate customers, or vice versa. Let's say you had a Corolla, and then you eventually were like, hey, you know what? I want to buy a Land Cruiser. Now I have to go to a completely different venue now to go purchase a vehicle. What it also led to is that if hey, that's really annoying, I have to go somewhere else, maybe I'll research and look at other brands. Maybe that's what I need to do. Instead of take a look at Toyota, maybe I look at somewhere else that doesn't make me kind of jump through these hoops to get the vehicles that I want to get. So it was pretty interesting to see how Toyota set this whole thing up. They've kind of stopped doing that now, so that you can buy more brands under the Toyota brand, and they've kind of, I don't think they phased away the Toyo Pet or the Nets as well, but I think they just have more options available at those. So you're not just kind of saying, hey, I want a Corolla, I've only got to go to this Corolla specific, dealership. They mentioned also Nissan's follows suit, Honda too as well, just giving the consumer more options too when they're purchasing a vehicle. So it's pretty cool to kind of read about how car dealerships kind of work in Japan. But yeah, I try to get all of these in there. So if you want to read up, definitely take a look at that. All right, next section is the TE71, and the TE71 is, I believe, it's a Corolla variant. This is from 1979 to 1983, kind of right before the AE86, but I don't recall if we got these in America, but I know that TE72 was definitely in America. The TE71, I don't know specifically if we had that in America, but you can definitely find these in a lot of enthusiasts or tuner cars, the TE72 at least. I want to make sure this is in focus for you, so I apologize. Pretty cool vehicles too as well. Definitely got that late 70s, early 80s aesthetic, and I usually kind of gauge that by just the way that the dash clusters are, the way the steering wheels are designed, look at the wood grain in there too as well. It looks really nice. Here are the specs too as well if you want to read that. All right. Moving on to the set, and as mentioned before, we've got looks like we're doing the windshield, and we've got the kind of supports that go on the side of the front fender there too as well. This looks like it's going to be a pretty quick part because all we're doing is kind of sliding this in. Looks like we're just making sure it gets aligned, and then there's a couple bolts here too as well, and then that should be set. Looks like that is the rear hatch glass, and I don't think that is. Oh, no, that's the front. That is the front. But that's, we're not doing the rear yet. And then the front fender area supports, 3 bolts, put it in, and we're done. So we'll put this away. We'll get the parts, take a peek at them, and then get started. Okay, back with the body here. So we're gonna just take our windshield here, and I will actually now pull off the film to keep it nice and clean. Oh, okay. There wasn't a film on the other side, so I was just touching all that, but it's okay. I'm gonna go ahead and place this in just like so here, and then there are a couple little tabs here we just need to push down. I'm not trying to overstress this thing. Oh, there he goes. All right, there's that. Oh yeah, there we go. Can you hear that? There it is. Okay, hear that? Both those kind of snapping in place. That is actually a testament to the preciseness of this model too, as well, which is awesome. Okay, so let's grab this and flip it over, and thankfully this is nice and neoprene, so I can put it on the roof without really any damage, thankfully, and make sure it's nice and clean. We're going to take some CM screws here and tighten this down. Okay, with that screw in, we have secured the windshield. So that was, again, just 2 screws. Oops, door popping open. We got ourselves a windshield. Looks really good, too, as well. See my light up there. Reflection. All right, moving on to the next part. We're going to be taking our... let me flip to the next page in the instructions real quick. We're taking our fender piece here, and these are going to be on this bolt side out, facing out of the vehicle. So this is the left side here, and they just kind of fit up just like so. Okay. Sorry about that. Let's take a look at this real quick. I'll zoom in. You can see there are kind of see, make sure it's in focus. You can see that there's kind of these registration marks on these 2 points right here, and that's where it's going to flow right on this one down here. I'm going to refocus that right there. Make sure you can see it. And that's where I'm going to see how these are indented with this right here. Just kind of fits right there. You can see how nice of a contact point that is too as well. So it's kind of idiot proof. I was just kind of like, what am I doing here? Took me a little bit of time to figure that out. Just a second. But we're just going to kind of match those registration points. Make sure it's nice and even. And then we're going to screw this in here. Now there are 3 of these 1, 2, 3 that we're going to be putting in, and these are pretty tight. The holes. Wow. Okay. The screws do not fit like extremely well. Yeah. Look how tight that is. You know, I might even just start pre-threading just off the vehicle because there's no point yet. I'm not hitting this wrong. I think it's the paint that's making it kind of funky. Actually, I screwed this up completely. All right, so maybe I should use my Google Translate next time. Anyway, so what happens is that these do go in this area right here, okay? And I was wondering, like, why is it so hard to screw this in on the side? Well, actually, you're not supposed to screw in on this side over here. We're screwing on the back side this direction. So, basically, take a screw here, mount this up right here, and then we're going to be turning this. Let's get a little bit wider. Turning it this way here, and then screwing on the back side this direction. A little bit of monkeying around trying to get this thing aligned. I'll go ahead and move that out of the way. You can see this. All right, got one kind of in there. The other, and one more. Just to kind of give myself a little bit of support before I turn on the side and really kind of wrench on it. All right, that looks good. Actually looks way better than what I had done previously. I was like, what the heck is going on here? All right. Okay, that last screw in, we are done with the part number 87 of the Toyota Sprinter Trueno AE86 by DeAgostini. Just a quick recap, even though you just saw it, we installed the windshield here, we installed these fender supports too as well, and I can try to give you a little bit of better view of the overall length of this model, and I really I'm struggling to get it all in frame. Let me push this back further. This is the widest my lens goes in this camera. But you can see I'm barely going to be able to fit this in frame when it's all said and done. You can still see we're going to have a little bumper here. You're going to be really hard to see, and then the back too as well. This thing is massive. And I'm really, really excited to see how this comes about together. But I want to thank you again for joining me today on part number 87 of the Toyota Sprinter Trueno AE86 by DeAgostini. If you haven't liked or the video or subscribed, please do. It really helps the channel grow. And with that, let's take a look at part number 88. And what do we have here? Take a look at that. That looks like a headliner. It goes on the underside of the head of the body here too as well. So that looks like something we're going to be installing real soon in part number 88. We'll see you guys then. Bye for now.